Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all this morning. My name is Jennifer Dunn, and my pronouns are she and her. I'm pushing 60 with long curly platinum hair, and I'm wearing a dress of various shades of blue and yellow today. We are glad to have you here, and we hope that you can stay for coffee, tea, and conversation after the service. The chalice lighter in the sanctuary is Yomi today. The chalice lighting words are Alive in All Creation by Sherry Woodbury. Spark of the Spirit, cupped in earth's embrace, light of love, alive in all creation. As we kindle this flame, we rekindle our connection to the sacred web of life.
Show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Well, good morning. I'm Laura, and use she, her pronouns. Glad to be here. Before I get to the opening words, there was one announcement that wasn't in the script. And you've probably all noticed these tables in the back all the way around. These Japan items are on the tables. Look, and if you want something, make a donation. There are jars, containers on each table. And make a donation, and the item is yours. It's a fundraiser for the church. And the previous owners want all the items cleared, not to have to repack too many things. All right. Our opening words are a quote from Starhawk in her book, The Spiral Dance. In the craft, we do not believe in the goddess. We connect with her through the moon, the stars, the ocean, the earth, through trees, animals, through other human beings, through ourselves. She is here. She is the full circle. Earth, air, fire, water, and essence. Body, mind, spirit, emotions, change. Our song of the month, our hymn of the month for July, is The Sun That Shines. It's number 19 in the gray hymnal. You may stand or sit to sing as you choose, and the words will be up on the screens. task well done, the fun of play, the wise who guide me on my way, the balm of sleep when each day ends, the joy of family and friends. Oh, I'm as rich can be, for all these things belong to me.
Good morning, all. It's nice to see everybody here today. My name is Mark McGinn, and I do have pronouns he, him, and comrade poet. Today, I'd like to share a story called The Soil, The Soil That Sustains Us by Ariel Aronson Eves. The dictionary defines soil as the upper layer of the earth in which plants grow, or a black or brown material typically consisting of a mixture of organic remains, clay, and rock particles. But I like to think of soil as a community. There are three main mineral components of soil: clay, sand, and silt. There's also a little bit of organic matter made from decayed plant and animal material. When organic matter is really broken down, so it can't decompose anymore, it's called humus, which shares a root word with human. Now I need to find my place. In addition to minerals and organic matter, also in the soil are billions of microcosms. Microcosms are tiny little forms like bacteria and fungi. These microbes, together with the roots of the plants, make up the community of the soil. Just as we humans need to get certain nutrients from our food to be healthy, so too do plants. Plants are sunlight powered to make their own food out of air and water. But just like we can't live healthily off of only carbs, though we try, there are some nutrient plants need what they can't get through photosynthesis. Luckily, they've developed a system of exchange with the soil microbes. The microbes are able to break down minerals into rocks and capture the nutrients from the air. In this and other ways, they get nutrients into forms that plants can take up. In exchange, the plants feed the microbes sugars. All this is happening under the soil surface. That is what happens in healthy soils. The system of cooperation breaks down when the plants stop needing the microbes. Why would they stop needing the microbes? When we heavily apply chemical fertilizers, the plants get addicted to the quick fix. They are freed from the slow process of relationship building, of having to share. If the plants are annuals, they'll be gone by next year. And the community system will have broken down. The next year's crop will need the chemical fertilizer to do well because the relationship between the plants and soils and soil microbes had suffered. It will take years to restore. But degradation is preventable and restoration is possible. It takes a lot of care and learning to see crops not simply as products we take out of the land, but a part of a valuable community. And that all starts with soil. Learning to see soil as more than just dirt. You might even think of it as sacred.
Good morning. My name's Pharaoh. I use she, her pronouns. I'm hearing myself on Zoom. Is it sound okay to y'all?
Yes.
Okay. I'm a white lady in my 40s with brown wavy hair that's starting to turn gray. And I'm wearing a sundress today with stripes on top and flowers on the bottom. As a community, we share joys and concerns to keep connected. Slips of paper are available when you walk in at the greeters table for those in the sanctuary to use for joys and concerns. And during the week, you can send your joys and concerns by email to pastoralcare@springfielduu.org, or you can leave a voicemail on the church phone, 417-883-3922. And if you're on Zoom now, please use the chat box to share your joys and concerns. All of our joys and concerns will be included in the members' email on Tuesday, and we honor each joy or concern with a lighted candle, a symbol of the love we as a community offer for each of these joys and concerns. And this morning, Yomi will be lighting our candles for us. So, as we begin this time of sharing, know that though we are in multiple physical spaces, we are together in beloved community. To begin, we hold in love all of us, those present and those absent. So we light a candle for our church community. Last week, Barbara, Bonnie, Millie, and Roberta partnered with Asbury Methodist Church to serve 97 families at Crosslines. Please continue to place children's books, toiletries, and plastic bags in the Crosslines grocery cart in the hall. It is a joy that several children were able to take books home with them. So we drop a candle of joy for their hard work at Crosslines. All right, from the folks present, I have a joy from Mark McGinn. He says it was a joy to go with Bob to Hammond's Field to watch our local Cardinals and old baseball friends sharing a good game. So we light a candle of joy. From Rick Boley, he shares a joy that Annie, her skin cancer surgery went well. Her test results came back negative. So we light a candle of joy for Annie's treatment. All right, let's see if we have anything on Zoom. I don't see anything. Adam, am I missing anybody?
Forgetting some.
Thank you. Okay, Becca Reynolds. This is a joy. Sherry, she is happy a large kidney stone is gone. Grateful for friends and an excellent medical team. Tired but recovering. We certainly light a candle of joy. Oh, and I have one from Barbara Watson on Zoom. She shares a concern for my husband and the Casey and Watson family on the death of Charles Casey. So we light a candle of concern for that. Okay. We honor the complex and heartbreaking struggles of our world. We light a candle for all who are impacted. And in closing, for those joys and concerns that remain unspoken, we light a candle. May we hold each of these joys and concerns in our hearts and minds. May our community of love ease sorrow and boost celebration. And now let us join together in 1 minute of shared silence, followed by Spirit of Life.
Hello, my name is Anna Ray. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a white female, very close to 40, with short blonde hair, more white streaks nowadays, wearing a sundress as well, bright colors, pink and teal. I'm going to share this week in UU history. On July 25th in the year 1806, Maria Weston Chapman was born in Weymouth, Massachusetts. She was educated in London and in 1828 became the principal of Ebenezer Bailey's Young Ladies High School. In 1830, she returned to the United States and married abolitionist Henry Chapman. They were members of the Federal Street Church, now Arlington Street Church, during the ministry of William Ellery Channing. Chapman and 12 other women founded the Boston Female Anti-Slavery Society. Chapman was active in numerous other abolitionist societies and worked with William Lloyd Garrison on the Liberator. After the Civil War, she continued her activities on behalf of freed slaves. She died in 1885. Now for our offering. Offering our gifts to support the work of building inclusive and just communities is one of the many ways that we live in justice and equity together. Some of us have much to give and some have little, and together it is enough. We are enough to work together for a world where every human can live into their best and most authentic self. If electronic giving is your preferred method, or if you are on Zoom, virtual giving options are available via our website, springfielduu.org. The offertory is I Love a Piano by Irving Berlin, performed by Pauline.
Thank you, Colleen. Figure out what I'm doing here. Good morning. I am Reverend Michelle Scott Huffman. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the minister here at First UU and happy to be here with you today. I'm a sort of average height woman with short, spiky, salt and pepper hair, wearing gray pants and a burgundy jacket today and glasses. Earlier this week, I was in Memphis at a church conference where I attended several great workshops on grant writing, accessibility in church spaces, mental health in the church. And the one that I'm thinking of this morning was offered by one of my former seminary professors regarding what Martin Luther King Jr. often called the fierce urgency of now. Dr. Francis read the litany of circumstances that indicate that we are living in urgent times. You know them. The quickening of climate change marked by a greater intensity of weather events and natural disasters. A resurgence of authoritarianism, white supremacy, transphobia, xenophobia, and all of those list of isms and phobias. A global economy driven by unbridled capitalism that widens the chasm between the ultra wealthy and the rest of us. And let's be clear that in that equation, all of us are the rest of us. That in comparison to the ruling elite with their billions and growing, that we are all a part of the rest of us and would do well to be in solidarity with our poorest neighbors, even though our hope and our tendency is to pretend that we're one of them, one of the elite. We are not. It is by understanding where we are in that category with our poorest neighbors that we can work together to keep that gap from widening. I could go on with a list of the circumstances that open our eyes to the urgency of now, but we all know at a soul level the particular challenges that we are facing. We are living in urgent times, and these times call us to do something. We are called not to panic or paralysis, but to presence and perseverance. Dr. Francis named the evidence that we're living in urgent times and then asked the question, what now? As if to say, and what are you going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Now, I know that question can be overwhelming. This week and next, I will suggest that remembering our connection to the elements, particularly earth, air, fire, and water, can help us to stay grounded and to remember who we are at an elemental level, and to show up in ways that are both natural and meaningful. An Eye on Science article introduces the topic in this way. Historians believe that as early as the 8th century before the Common Era, ancient Greek philosophers of the Archaic period began formulating theories of the 4 classical elements. Although the Greeks believed that the 4 elements were unchanging in nature, everything was made up of these elements, held together or pushed apart by forces of attraction and repulsion, causing substances to appear and change. To the ancient Greeks, the 4 elements describe not only physical manifestations of the material world, but essential qualities of human nature as well. For instance, the earth, solid and substantial, was associated with the physical and sensual aspects of life. Water, flowing and ever-changing, denoted emotion and empathy. Air was not only the air we breathe and the atmosphere, but signified the mind, intelligence, and inspiration. And fire meant the sun and flame. It also indicated creative passion and destructive zeal. This ancient Greek philosophy worked its way into many of the world's religions. The 4 elements are a recurring motif in various spiritual traditions, often symbolizing fundamental aspects of creation, the human body, and the divine. They appear in diverse contexts, from philosophical frameworks to ritual practices, representing both the physical world and the spiritual realm. In fact, in many traditions, adherents speak of a 5th element and name it as spirit or a heavenly intangible ether. As spirit is the way in which we integrate and interact with concepts in this space, I'm considering that one to be omnipresent in the conversation both today and next week. The 4 elements are fundamental to Buddhist cosmology and meditation practices. They represent the physical structure of the body and the interconnectedness of all things. Earth, water, fire, and air are used as objects of meditation to focus the mind and cultivate insight. Similar to Buddhism, they are foundational in Hinduism, where they're seen as the basic building blocks of the universe and the human body. Different deities are associated with each element, and rituals often involve invoking or honoring them. The 4 elements are also found in other traditions, including Gnosticism, various forms of paganism, shamanism, and Zoroastrianism. In fact, it has been suggested that philosophies about the four elements originated not in Greece, but in Persia, particularly with the philosopher who would become known as Zoroaster. Faith Hibashi writes, the origin of the four element theory seems to be Persian and not Greek. It was the Persian prophet Zarathustra, whose name was corrupted by Greek writers to Zoroaster about 2 centuries before Aristotle. This Zoroastrian concept of four elements has a different perspective, which makes more sense than the Aristotelian. According to this prophet, air, water, earth, and fire are sacred elements. Humans and animals need air to breathe, water to drink, fire to cook food, and earth to grow plants for their survival. Jewish tradition connects the four elements to the building blocks of the soul, or nephesh. These elements are also associated with the 4 states of matter: solid, liquid, gas, and plasma, reflecting the physical world and the inner world. In Christianity, the 4 elements are linked to the creation of humanity, emphasizing their role in the physical world and humanity's connection to it. They are also symbolic of God's power and presence, with fire representing divine power and water symbolizing cleansing and rebirth. Think events like Pentecost and sacraments like baptism. The story from the Hebrew Bible that pairs the 2 elements that I want to think about today is one of 2 creation stories from the book of Genesis. You may or may not know that in the book of Genesis, there are 2 separate creation accounts, acknowledgement of which helps to support the fact that these stories are neither biological nor historical in nature, but that they were etiological, which suggests that humans were engaged in the practice of meaning making, as we do. And they did so by imagining the many possibilities for the ways that we came into existence and the reasons for that existence. That's a whole conversation for a different day. The first creation story, the one many of you might have learned in Sunday school as a child, the one that starts with "in the beginning," goes from Genesis 1:1 to Genesis 2, verse 4a. The second one starts in Genesis 2, verse 4b. Remember, when these stories were told as an oral tradition, they certainly didn't have chapter and verse numbers. And that maybe the decisions about how we gave them chapter and verse numbers had some motives about our understanding of the text. But we can very clearly divide in the middle of that verse that one story stops and another story ends. The second creation story is less formulaic and simply describes the origins of humanity in this way. On the day the Lord God made earth and sky, before any wild plants appeared on the earth and before any field crops grew, because the Lord God hadn't yet sent rain on the earth and there was still no human being to farm the fertile land, though a stream rose from the earth and watered all of the fertile land, the Lord God formed the human from the topsoil of the fertile land and blew life's breath into his nostrils. The human came to life. If you'll allow me a bit of Bible geekery here, I'll share some interesting tidbits about the text in its original language. The word translated human here is ha-adam, which is translated as man in many English translations. We come to know this ha-adam eventually as Adam, which we could literally translate as mud man, because the Hebrew Bible is rich with wordplay and puns. The Hebrew word ruach is found numerous times in Genesis and other books in the Hebrew Bible to mean almost interchangeably wind and breath and spirit. It's also been used to indicate life force. Early Christians believed that the basic building blocks of humanity were earth and air, and that God formed us from them in an act of creation that was of equal importance to literally everything else: nature, animals, plants, the sea and its creatures. Before we misinterpreted our responsibility for stewardship as dominion, we could imagine harmony in the created order. The Hebrew word here for formed is yatzar, which is also the word used to describe the work of a potter making something out of clay. So imagine, if you will, an act of creation, even a metaphorical one, in which the very foundations of all that exists are placed within us, within humanity, making us deeply connected and undeniably powerful. What then would we do with all of our connections and power? This is where I think the earth-centered religions like Wicca and paganism have so much to teach us. These traditions remind us that the elements are not simply metaphors, they are living forces, sacred presence, companions in both our survival and our spiritual becoming. Starhawk writes, "To be rooted in the earth is to be grounded in reality, in the cycles of life and death, growth and decay. It is to understand that we are not separate from nature, but part of it." In these ancient paths, earth is not just soil, it is teacher. Air is not just breath, it is spirit. And both invite us to remember that we are not above or outside of creation, we are within it, formed by it, accountable to it. In a world bent on extraction and domination, these traditions offer another way, one of reverence, reciprocity, and relationship. A way that asks not how we can use the earth, but how we live in harmony with her. And that's not just a spiritual ideal, it's a survival strategy, a justice strategy, a way of being that could actually save us if we're willing to listen. It is what grounds us in the reality that there is no liberation that doesn't include the land. There's no justice that can be divorced from the soil beneath our feet or the air that fills our lungs. And in the chaos of now, in this era of unrelenting urgency, it might be that returning to the elements is not an escape from the world's problems, but a profound way of engaging them. Earth teaches us how to stay, how to dig in, how to endure. Air teaches us how to move, how to speak, how to rise. But perhaps most importantly, these elements remind us what we are made of. David White writes, "Ground is what lies beneath our feet. It is the place where we already stand, a state of recognition, the place or the circumstances to which we belong, whether we wish to or not. It is what holds us and supports us, but also what we do not want to be true. It is what challenges us physically or psychologically, irrespective of our hoped-for needs. It's the living underlying foundation that tells us what we are, where we are, who we are, what season we're in, and what, no matter what we wish in the abstract, is about to happen to our body, in the world, or in the conversation between the two." So what if our plan, our resistance, our response to the fierce urgency of now isn't just action and activism, but also alignment with the deep and ancient truth of who we are and what we are? What if we aligned ourselves with the wisdom of the earth and the clarity of the air? What if we remembered that being human means being elemental? Because here's the thing, if we can reclaim that connection, if we can root ourselves in the very ground of being and breathe with intention, then we can begin to imagine new ways of living here together on this earth. Ways that honor the interdependence that we often forget. And perhaps that's how transformation begins. In the soil of awareness, the breath of courage, in communities like this one with gardens outside and people inside who dare to remember that we belong to the earth, to each other, and to those who will come after us. We do have to face the reality that some of us may not live to see the world we long for. That we will plant trees that we will never sit under, but other people will. But we can live as if transformation is possible. We can live in a way that makes it more likely. And we can be a part of the connectedness and rootedness of those who come along behind us, who hopefully will sit in these seats someday. That too is elemental faith. So this week, let's take the time to rest in our connection to soil and air, to remember how we are forged, to put our bare feet and hands in the soil and to fill our lungs with air and feel the breeze on our faces. And next week, we'll turn to fire and water, the elements that we use to forge or co-create what is needed in our time. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. The interlude this morning is Morning Has Broken, a Gaelic melody arranged by Virginia Hallberg and performed by Colleen. As we prepare to sing our final hymn, extinguish our chalice, and head out to the world, I leave you with this charge. Go, with your feet planted firmly on the earth, rooted in love, in courage, and in the truth of your own wholeness. Go, with breath in your lungs, carrying the winds of change, the whispers of justice, and the spirit of life itself moving through you. In these urgent times, may you remember, you are made of sacred stuff. The soil and the sky live in you. So walk gently, breathe deeply, and trust that even now, transformation is possible. Our final hymn today is As Tranquil Streams. It's number 145 in the gray hymnal. You may stand or sit to sing as you choose. The words will be on the screen. After we're finished singing, if you're standing, you may remain standing as we extinguish our chalice and part with our unison sending words.
As tranquil streams that meet and merge and flow as one to seek the sea, our kindred hearts and minds unite to build a church that shall be free, free from the bonds that bind the mind to narrow thought and lifeless creed, free from a social code that fails to serve the cause of human need, a freedom that reveres the past but trusts the dawning future more, and bids the soul in search of truth adventure boldly and explore. Of Fatix Church the future waits, your liberating ministry. Go forward in the power of love, proclaim the truth that shakes us free.
So I invite Yomi to come and extinguish our chalice. As Yomi comes, I would remind you, social action committee meeting downstairs in the library after we're finished. Take all the Japanese items from the back and leave all of your money. And go to the kitchen for coffee and conversation and tea.
Jill,
Yes.
those books and posters need to be taken away too.
Yes, the books and posters also over here in the front need to go away as well. So there's also a place to put your money there. And now we extinguish our personal and communal chalices and close with our unison sending words. Our service here is ending. Our service to the world begins anew. Go in peace, friends.